Hi, I'm Will, and this is the 31 Days of Lifetime, a sort of advent calendar for cooks with wonderful accents. I made it my mission to watch every single offering in Lifetime's 2020 holiday catalog, but I won't be doing it alone. Each day, I'll be joined by a special guest or guests who will help me dig into these instant Christmas classics. Today, I'm joined by the love of my lifetime, Sophie Foldvari.
Merry Christmas, Will.
Merry Christmas, Sophie. We are going to be discussing the 13th movie in Lifetime's lineup, A Taste of Christmas. When Natalie learns her cousin Francesca must cancel the Christmas Eve opening of her new Italian restaurant, Natalie's heart goes out to all of the guests who are planning on attending. Since no one should be alone on Christmas, Natalie decides to make the opening happen any way she can. However, the attractive but pessimistic Chef Stefano believes it's impossible. There are only 3 days until Christmas, but Natalie insists that problems are just opportunities in disguise, and soon she convinces Stefano that they can do it. At first, these opposites do not attract, but feelings begin to change when they find themselves working side by side. With Stefano's help, Natalie learns that cooking, like Christmas, isn't about perfection. It's about sharing it with the ones you love. A Taste of Christmas premiered on November 20th and stars Annie Krueger and Gilles Marini. So, what is your relationship with Lifetime Christmas movies?
So my mom is absolutely obsessed. She sits on the couch and watches on her phone because my dad refuses to watch with her. So I've seen a number of films growing up, but when I moved away for school, I absolutely did not seek out watching these films. I don't like using the word film to describe them. They're bad. My mom loves them, so I am familiar, but,
What did you think of this title? Fun little behind-the-scenes fact, I was on IMDb today. The title on that one is something different. It is not A Taste of Christmas. The original title, it seems, based on this poster, was Christmas Romance Al Dente. So did you like this title? Would you have stopped to watch a movie with this title if you saw it on Netflix?
Yes, I picked this one off a list because I thought it sounded the best.
Love is in the air. Love and Christmas cheer, always in the air. And some pesto. What did you think of the two leads? I'll start. I think that this is, in my opinion, the least likable lead in any of these movies so far.
I agree because I actually didn't mind Stefano, but Natalie I did not like her at all. I didn't root for her when the Italian woman came in who liked Stefano too. I was like, yes, girl, go after him, get him. Like, I was rooting for her, not Natalie.
Oh, yeah. I liked her too until she started singing. They hype her up this whole movie where she's a traveling choral singer. She has a beautiful voice, and she's Italian, so you think oh, an opera singer. That is not the case.
I wrote down my specific notes say, no accent when singing. And then underneath I said, she's supposed to be bad, right?
Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains.
So usually when they're casting, especially for these movies, anyone with a certain skill that's hyped up, like an ice skater or whatever, it is always shocking to me that they don't seek someone out who's good at that. For this one, it was really surprising because she's an Italian singer, and I don't think that the actress was Italian or a singer. So
I wrote down, who is the dialect coach? I hope they were fired.
So I think our leads really did range from her being really unlikable, and I thought Stefano is honestly one of the more likable people. He is one of the leads this early on who has an actual career.
That's interesting because I thought he was maybe one of the best actors in the movie.
Oh, absolutely he was.
And
him and the cousin, and they're both people who have careers. So the two leads, whatever, big gap between likability. What did you think of some of the supporting characters?
Okay, well, first we got to talk about BB and Tyler, don't we? I don't know how to even talk about them. They couldn't function most of the movie as people. I kept being like there was a scene where BB and Tyler were talking, and afterwards I wrote down, I don't know what they said to each other. There was a lot of no, and I was like, what is going on here?
It was also uncomfortable because they were we're in high school, we're nervous, but they looked like our age.
I said Tyler and BB need a scene study with Dee Batiste yesterday.
Yeah, it was uncomfortable to watch them in almost every single scene they were in. I will give props to Lifetime. Usually the like side romance is not fleshed out in any way. This one though was unnecessarily so. What did you think of, so we have this rival, I forget her name, the Italian girl.
I don't know if they mentioned it. Her accent was trash. Like, you like to cook too? Me too. But I liked her character. I was like, I was rooting for her character, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I hated Natalie so much.
Well, she was also very forward, which I appreciated. I feel like women in these movies are never forward. We have two kind of like friend characters, like supportive, sisterly characters. One is her cousin, who spends most of the movie in a hotel room. The establishing shot of her in Rome makes it look like she's staying in the Colosseum. And then they had her cousin's friend, who's also her friend, I guess, who was there to give exposition at the beginning, disappear for an hour, and then show up at the end. And
Mrs. Myers!
also, why was she Mrs.? They looked the same age.
Well, that was very strange because Mrs. Myers was everywhere in the beginning. And then you didn't see her to the end. I have a couple notes throughout my notes. Where's Mrs. Myers? What happened to Mrs. Myers? I hope she's with Sparky, because we also lost track of the dog.
Oh, yeah.
Throughout the movie. Where I was like, the way they set up this dog sitter thing.
With that lovely child actor. Terrible. Just the worst. Child actor watch. I think she is the worst child actor we've seen. I needed subtitles when that child was talking.
Who doesn't love to get all dressed up for the holidays? Thank you for taking care of him. We would take him on a Christmas cruise.
And my first note says, I hate Cousin Olivia immediately, but now I don't know why.
She was kind of rude. Her cousin was like watching her house and like opening a restaurant. She goes, I hope you're not cooking. Also, where does she get her income?
Only
for the
fan.
holidays? Anyway, what did you think of the chemistry between, I guess, both of the romantic pairings? You expressed your distaste for BB and Tyler's relationship. As far as Natalie and Stefano together, what did you think of that?
While watching it, I liked Stefano enough to be like, okay, if this is what he's going with, I can see it. But that was coming all from Stefano. Natalie, horrible. Like, the acting was... That's why I rooted for the brunette Italian woman, because I could see them together.
I think he should have ended up with the cousin. Oh. I feel like it would have been really fun if Natalie tried to make a move and he's like, I'm dating your cousin. Like we're opening a business together because we're dating. I will say the one place where that Italian woman stumbled was when she said, I'm hoping Stefano will offer me a job because I like him. And I'm like, what? Usually in these movies, there are a lot of scenes that don't need to be there. I think, you know, again, giving them props in regards to BB and Tyler, I think all of the scenes were theirs. Sophie, do you have any small little observations that you had about this movie? Things that really stuck out to you in a negative or positive way?
Very quotable. I wrote down a couple quotes that when they said them, I immediately wrote them down. I think there's only about 3. String lights around a palm tree and call it Christmas. All dogs go to heaven, but they should probably stay out of a restaurant kitchen.
That's the title of the sequel of that movie.
BB, you just baked my day. Secret to a clean kitchen is simple. Don't cook ever. That was it. So 4. Yeah.
That's 2 from the same scene, too.
The writing, though, it's like half the battle is the writing. They wrote those
yeah, it's bad.
We have to talk about setting at some point, too, because...
Yeah, of course. Let's talk about it. It's Canada. It's always Canada.
They were in, like, a small town and kept referencing a city.
But also that city felt like a small town because everybody knew her. And she had too many jobs. And it felt weird because they didn't really reference it after that first scene. Also, confusing that she kept saying she was a Jacqueline of all trades when her name was not Jacqueline.
She couldn't cook. She couldn't fix anything.
Jacqueline of all trades, which are travel planner and making custom wreaths.
Yes, and forgetting about a dog.
Well, I know that you're intrigued by all of these people's pasts. And we do have some leading characters, and with those, of course, are leading actors. I've prepared a game for you. I'm going to read a fact that I learned about these people on IMDb. Okay. Your job is to try and tell me who goes with that fact.
Is there a list of actors I can pick from?
You can pick from, I'd say, like the 5 big leads, which would be...
Maybe Ty, Steph, Nat...
and Olivia, the cousin.
Got it.
One of them will not be used because I couldn't find anything interesting on their IMDb. First one, had a hit film that spun off into a quickly canceled TV show.
Let's go Let's go Olivia.
That is correct. Nia Vardalos was the star of My Big Fat Greek Wedding, which spun off into a 7-episode stint in My Big Fat Greek Life.
Cool.
She also made a sequel 2 or 3 years ago that was probably crowdfunded.
Yeah, I never saw any of those.
Yeah, it's like a hit film. Okay, the other big star in this movie is famous for bearing it all on the big screen. Their first huge role that launched them into stardom, they were completely naked on the big screen.
I wouldn't say any of these people have been launched into stardom, though.
I mean, they were very talked about for this scene.
Let's go Stefano.
That is correct. Gilles Marini played Samantha's boyfriend in Sex and the City, the movie.
Oh, you saw his wiener?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, you really saw the wiener?
Yeah, you can look it up and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, and he said in interviews recently that he hates that he did it because that's all people talk about. Okay, next one. Credited as a vocalist for Satanic Song on the movie Scare Me.
Let's go. I'm 2 for 2 right now. I really want to win this game. Let's go, Natalie.
That is correct, Annie Krueger. Her music is at the top of her IMDb above actor. She also performed in 2 songs on the Amy Schumer show.
Good for her.
Inside Amy Schumer, is that what that show's called?
Okay, girl. I mean, I'm going to check out her singing. Hopefully it's better than her acting, right?
I don't think she has an album. I will say the picture on her IMDb is like her sitting on a barn roof, which makes me think maybe she does have a country album. Okay, and the last one. So it's either Tyler or BB. This person is also credited as being in one of Netflix's 2020 Christmas movies.
I'll go Tyler.
That is correct. Andrew
Yes, I knew
Rozier
he's
is
hot.
also in Town Square, Dolly Parton's Big Town Christmas, whatever it's called. The one with Christine Baranski in it.
I knew it because he is pretty attractive.
He was also featured in the film Tall Girl.
No.
Yeah.
No. I should have been in that. Being tall is like really actually a real struggle. It's because guys are like, I don't want to date a tall girl. And I'm like, I can't change that about myself, you know? And it's like, I'm tall, you know?
Oh, getting emotional. As we wrap up, I've got 2 questions for you that I ask all of my guests. It's not trivia, it's just your opinion. So the first one, Gilles Marini as Stefano. We've said it both ways. Lifetime may sue us for that.
It's okay.
How dateable is he on a scale from 1 to 10?
So I'll talk it through out loud so everyone can hear what I'm thinking. I would date him. He's not the best option, I don't think. There are better options than him, but if
In this town?
In this town, I would date him.
Okay.
If that's an 8, maybe.
Sure.
All right, we'll go with 8. We'll go with 8.
The next question. Who would you say was the MVP in this movie?
So MVP from an actor's standpoint has to be Stefano. Has to be. Most valuable character. I'm going to have to say Olivia, only because the way I'm thinking about it is without Olivia, there would be no movie. Because Olivia owns the restaurant. And if Olivia wasn't there, the restaurant wouldn't be there. There wouldn't be a girl who was indebted to her cousin to run this restaurant. So without Olivia, there's no movie.
The same could be said of Rome without snow.
And time.
Sophie, where can people find you?
You guys can find me all over. You can find me anywhere. On Instagram, Sophie Foldvari. My podcast is Talking Shit with Sophie and Rocky. That's on Instagram and on Twitter as well. I think that's about it.
Thank you so much for being here, Sophie. And thank you for watching. I'll be back tomorrow to discuss Feliz Navidad with Ashley Greenwood and Ryan Murphy. God, that title. And every day this month to talk about I can't do it. I'll be back tomorrow to discuss Feliz Navidad with Ashley Greenwood and Ryan Murphy, and every day this month to talk about a different Christmas flick. If you had a holly jolly time watching this video, you can go ahead and hit that like button. And if you want to follow me into my descent into lifetime madness, you can subscribe and press that little bell icon, because every time a bell rings, you'll get notified about a new video that I post. I'll see you next time. Merry Christmas.